Happy Thursday, Internet. Welcome back. We're episode 2, Livewire Connections. I'm Henry Clifford, and I work at Livewire with the best technology people in the business. We're broadcasting live from the home office here in sunny Richmond, Virginia. I want to thank you for joining us. I know we've got customers, employees, first-time callers, long-time listeners with us today. We know you have a choice how to spend your lunch hour, and we thank you for choosing us. We started this show because our customers have been asking us to do this in person for years. The pandemic killed traditional opportunities to meet new people, so the idea of doing a show with industry experts and inviting our community became a no-brainer overnight. In the coming months, we'll be hanging out with tech industry experts, making sure you get all your questions answered. Speaking of questions, if you have questions as we're going along, just drop them in the chat and we'll have a chance for some Q&A at the end. Cool? Let's take it away. I'm honored to be joined in the studio by an industry rock star. I'm talking about none other than my main man, Vinnie Catucci. Welcome, Vinnie.
Henry, thank you very much for the invite. Glad to be joining you. Looking forward to this, and definitely looking forward to getting back in Livewire's office again soon as well. But thanks everyone for calling in. Definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, we all are. So let's dig in. So first, let's just I'm gonna lob out a little easy one. So tell us. This is always so great. We learn so much, but tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be doing what you're doing at Alarm.com.
So I'm in Maryland right now. So Rockville, Maryland area. So that's actually, I was born, raised in Rockville, went to high school in Washington, D.C., went out to college in the Cleveland, Ohio area, was a communications major, business minor, came back to DC, and I was at that time interested in getting in a sales position, a sales role. I had an uncle who told me, sales is great. Whatever you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So I got started looking for a role. And funny enough, my sister knew the VP of marketing at this small startup company named Alarm.com. So went and met with Pete Solano, who's the rep, met with the CEO there, Steve Trundle, and got the job offer and started there that next week. And amazingly enough, next week it will be 15 years at Alarm.com for me. So when I first started, we were doing a direct-to-customer sales line, and it was great. Still early days of Alarm.com, but after about 6 months, we recognized that that's not really something we wanted to be involved with, between the resources requirements and just friction it was causing with our dealer, who are our real partners in the industry. We decided to actually do away with that direct-to-customer product line. So at the time, my boss, he was great. He was like, you know what, we really like your effort, your ethic. You're willing to do anything to help us. Would you be willing to stay on here in a support role? And I was like, you know what, I like Alarm.com. I like the people here. I like the dynamics. I like what we're doing. So like, yeah, you know what, let me stay on. So I moved into the support role and was there for 3 years, saw tremendous growth within that time. And then, we were expanding all of our departments. So after 3 years, we created an inside sales position. And so they asked me if I would like to, be one of the first people to take over that role. So myself and 2 other reps moved into that inside sales position. And then I was there for 5 more years in the inside sales role. And that time, growth really exploded. That's when we saw the smartphone adoption. And so that really led to exponential growth for Alarm.com. We actually, within that time frame, went public as a company. So that was another feather in the cap at Alarm.com. And then from there, moved into the current role I'm in now, my account executive position. And that's really more just an outside sales role. We have an inside rep that works closely with an outside rep within each territory. And so that's where I am currently working with partners to get them up to speed on the Alarm.com platform, the different integrations we roll out, how it can really improve a customer experience. And so now that's where I am working closely with partners and getting them up to speed. And so I cover Maryland, Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio. So pre-pandemic was a lot of travel, typically living in airports, hotels, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday was the office day. But, pandemic time, every day is the office day. So here Monday through Friday now, but still great to see and talk to all the partners.
Yeah. Well, the whole bio question thing, I think it's always cool because you always learn so much about people from asking that question. So,
Yeah.
I mean, on the company side, and again, I always get something new every time I hear this, but somebody off the street, you tell them where you work, you say alarm.com, and invariably they say, what is alarm.com? So
right.
Can you kind of give us a sense of like, what is alarm.com? Kind of why did it start? And maybe just talk about a little bit about where, I know you touched on it a little bit, but just kind of why did it start? What is it? And kind of where it was, maybe 20 years ago, and then where we are today.
Yeah. So it's actually a pretty funny story how it got started. So our CEO, Steve Trundle, he was an executive at a company named MicroStrategy, which is a business intelligence company in Tysons Corner, Virginia. And he was looking into getting a security system. And so he reached out, had a security partner come out to his house, was explaining how a security system communicated, how it worked. And at the time, everything was through the phone line. And so Steve, had said, well, that's interesting, but let's say something happens and someone clips that phone line. What's going to happen? Is my alarm going to go out? And they said, no, if that gets cut, it's not going to send any alarm signal to that central station. And so Steve was like, you know what? This doesn't seem like a very secure solution. And so that's what got him thinking. And that Monday, he goes into MicroStrategy, into the offices, and says, you know what? I think there's a lot of room for improvement within this security industry, and I think we can provide the solution that's needed. So Steve and the executives at MicroStrategy talked about it, and they're like, yeah, we think we can improve on what's out there right now. So they actually pulled some people internally. So there was someone they had just brought on named Allison Slavin, and she had just finished the MicroStrategy training boot camp. She finished #1 in that training class. They brought her in, and then one of their top engineers, Jean-Paul Martin, brought the two of them, put them together with Steve, and the creative lab was started, and they named it alarm.com. And so when it got created, the initial idea was, let's provide a security system that can communicate over a cellular network independent of phone lines or landlines. So that was the whole initial idea. And then during that creative lab session, when they were talking, they were like, you know what? Let's see what else we can do to expand on it. Maybe we can provide awareness of what's going on in the home, even when the panel's in a disarmed state. Because back then it was an alarm or it was disarmed, and you just knew if that siren went off, if there was an alarm, but you didn't know it was activity that was going on in the home outside of that. And so they said, you know what, let's see if we can provide notifications to customers. And back then this was just via email, but there was a customer interface where you could go into an event history and you could see when was that door open and closed, even when the panel's in a disarmed state. And so that was the beginning of the interactive security. And so the way Steve talks about it, he's like, you know what, it's really the old school way of security was just non-awareness. Let's turn this into an awareness. Let's let people know what's going on in that home. So that was the next idea behind it. And then it was also being able to arm and disarm the security system through remote. Back then, again, no smartphones, but so it was all via like a laptop or a desktop. But it's funny because Steve said at his, one of the first meetings he had with a security dealer, he showed them how he was able to disarm the security system from across the room. He said it looked like everyone in the room was about to pass out. They were blown away by this technology. They're like, how did you do this? So yeah, that was kind of the initial foray into security. It's like, let's provide awareness, let's communicate through a cell connection, and let's provide this remote connectivity to the security system. So that's where it was when it first rolled out into the market. I think the first system they sold was 2003, around that time frame. So yeah, it definitely that was the initial breakdown. And it's funny, I came in 2006, but back then, Steve Trundle used to still walk around when we'd get like 10,000 new customers. He'd pass out a pin, 10,000. People would wear into the office. Everyone was so proud about it. So yeah, the growth has been exponential since that time frame.
Dude, that's I love hearing that, and just the DNA of Alarm.com, kind of this sort of data centric company.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool. And then also, like, why would somebody buy an Alarm.com? I mean, today, why would somebody buy an Alarm.com system? I mean, what makes them different? I mean, like, I could just buy one of these Ring doorbells from Best Buy. I mean, I could just order a SimpliSafe system. Like, I'm good. Like, why on earth would somebody buy Alarm.com?
Yeah. And yeah, very, very valid point. And what we think, the whole mindset behind Alarm.com now is that a true smart home solution is when you have all of these different devices communicating together through one platform. So let's get that security system to communicate within the same platform as the doorbell camera, as the thermostat, as the garage door kit. Rather than having these single disparate apps where you're connecting to one app to see that thermostat and adjust it, and then someone rings the doorbell, and then you go back into that app to see who's there. Let's just tie it into one solution, one easy to use solution for customers. So I think that's quite the differentiator that we provide. And then like you said, this industry is booming. This Internet of Things industry there's always new rollouts, new features, new integrations. And with Alarm.com, our solution, it's something called software as a service. And what that means is we're not tied into any specific hardware. So when we roll out a new product or new feature, you don't have to go out and let's say you got a system installed a week ago. You don't have to get that entire system swapped out now to now integrate with this new solution. We're able to push those updates over the air. And so now you have access to this new feature that's rolling out. And like I said, this industry is always booming. I mean, there's always new features and products. And just knowing that Alarm.com's your solution is going to be able to grow with this industry. We're always going to be able to roll out these new features, and you as a customer will have access to it. It's interesting. Alarm.com is 75% engineers, which is great because we are always taking our feedback from you at Livewire. You're dealing with all of these customers in the field, and you're getting this feedback on hey Henry, can you guys do this? Can you add this product? I think this would be a huge benefit. You as a dealer, you can bring that back to us as sales reps, and we're able to escalate it to our product team. And we're able to implement these updates and solutions based off of what you're hearing in the field. So I think that's also another great differentiator that we're always going to be able to grow with this industry. And then obviously the security aspect of it as well. I mean, the fact that we do have quite a bit of security built into our solution, between VPNs, APNs, and AES encryption, which are just technical terms, but it just ensures that it communicates all through an encrypted network. So we're looking to limit the possibility of somebody hacking into that system. We want to make sure that your information is just as protected as your home or your business.
That's a great one. In fact, in talking about encryption, talking about security, data security, et cetera. I mean, can you talk a little bit about what measures? And again, we've got a variety of folks on the call, so people are into technology,
Yeah.
people who just, they're
Right.
not into it at all. So
Right.
just, as simple as we can understand
Yeah.
how seriously does Alarm.com take, information security, and then what does that look like, in
Yeah.
terms of in practice?
Yeah. So the AP access point names, virtual private networks, AES encryption, that's all built into the Alarm.com communication path. So the signals that get routed from a customer's home to our backend, our network operations center, is going through this communication path to not eliminate, but definitely work to limit any possibility that someone's going to be able to get into that system to view your cameras. I mean, I'm sure everybody's, you just Google Ring or Nest hacking, it's going to bring up some of those incidents where, I think was it last year or 2 years ago, right around Christmas time, someone hacked into, I think it was a Nest system and was telling some little kid that he was Santa Claus. And it turned out to be not, he didn't say anything too off the wall, but just the fact that somebody got access to your home and could see into it like that, that's definitely something that we're looking to eliminate altogether. And we actually hire a third-party company called Ethical Hackers, and they come in and test our security protocols. If there's ever anything that they're able to locate, any weaknesses, our team is able to work closely to make sure that we can eliminate those issues. So it's definitely something we take very seriously. We've also recently rolled out something called two-factor authentication, and that's to ensure when you log into your system, it recognizes your device. If you log in from a different device, you're immediately going to get confirmation that is this you that's logging in. So if somebody were to get your login and password and log in, you're going to get this notification that someone else is trying to access your account. So we put quite a bit. Like I said, 75% of our company is engineers. So we're doing everything we can as a security company to protect that information as it's communicating through our networks.
Yeah, that's great. So I have an Alarm.com system. We got a lot of Alarm.com subscribers, Livewire customers on the call today. I'd say the great thing about the app is it's simple, it's easy to use, but I always have this nagging feeling that I'm not taking full advantage of the app, that there's might be some cool tips or tricks. So, I mean, just kind of maybe start off with, is there a cool trick or tip or some feature of the app, Vinny, that you feel like, I love this thing and I don't know why more people don't use it?
No. So I think one of the coolest features that I think is a big benefit is the geo services or geofence portion to it. So we use something called cellular triangulation. So you enable that within the Alarm.com app, and then you can set a radius around the location, anywhere from 1 mile to 100 miles. And then when you enter and exit that geofence, it can cause something to happen. So for example, create a rule that says when I leave for work in the morning, if my garage door is opened or my front door is still unlocked, send me that notification right to my phone. So now, I get to the office, I don't have to think like, geez, did I forget to close that garage door? Now I have to drive all the way back home, close the garage door. Maybe I get home and realize, oh, geez, it was closed. Go back to the office. Now create that rule that says if I exit that fence and that garage door is still open or that front door is unlocked, send me that notification to my phone. Boom, you just push a button, send a command to close it, to lock the door, to arm the system. I think that geofence feature is definitely valuable. And people always say, well, what if I leave and my wife is there, my kids are there? It got some complex logic built into it, so it will know not to send that notification unless everyone with that phone has exited that fence. And then it'll send you that notification, alert you to that door being unlocked. Or it can also tie into the thermostats. When I exit that geofence. I wanted to adjust the thermostat so it's not wasting money or wasting energy when nobody's there. But then as soon as somebody pulls back into that geofence, set it back to the normal temperature so it's going to be comfortable by the time I walk into that front door. I think that's definitely a useful feature that we've rolled out. And I'd say another great one that's a bit newer is the scenes. Like, I'm sure you're familiar with it, but talking to customers that maybe aren't aware of it, that's something where you can tie everything into one button push. So you can create this good night scene. So when you're going to bed, you simply go into the app, you push that good night icon, and that's going to make sure that the front door is closed. Our front door is locked, garage door is closed, security panel is armed, thermostat is adjusted to the sleep setting. You don't have to walk around the house and be like, oh, geez, did I miss something? Did I forget to close that garage door? When you go to bed, you just push that button and it's going to ensure that everything is set up correctly so your home isn't vulnerable when you go to bed. I think that's another key feature and key update that really makes things easy for customers.
What about, and maybe this might put you on the spot a little bit here, but I mean, you talk to dealers and hear customer stories all over the place, but any cool sort of Alarm.com automating the world sort of stories about this one button push? And I heard this story where this customer's doing this. What are people out there doing with, with the geo services or with the scene button or anything else? Like, what are some cool applications you've heard of?
Yeah. Well, one that was pretty funny was this was a dealer that had he had the energy appliance module plugged in, and he plugged the kids' video game system into that. And so he would get a notification when they went and turned that on. And so he would get that notification. He immediately, text his kids, or there's a two-way audio. He'd be like, "Hey, I told you guys, like, no doing the video games until after homework was done." And they were like, what's going on here? Like, how do you possibly know that? So, that was something that, was interesting. That goes to show that kids aren't going to be able to get away with quite as much with the system. And then there's always the funny one that goes back. This one was a while ago, but the Alarm.com dealer that put the sensor on the liquor cabinet. And so anytime the teenagers would try and open that, get that notification, immediately reach out, be like, "Hey, what do you guys think you're doing?" And the teenagers were in a world of trouble, but that kind of awareness that exactly what's going on in the home is I thought that was a great story to show that no one's getting away with anything in the house.
Yeah, I actually stole that one and transposed it to our beer fridge, and I put a camera facing the beer fridge and a little sensor on the fridge so that every time you open the door, it took a little video clip. And they say if you're going to find out if you put a camera somewhere what's going on, good, bad, or indifferent. And so interesting to see some of the cast of characters who were accessing the beer fridge.
That's great use as well. Kind of similar to that, we had it when we were still in MicroStrategy, same building. There was people who would always leave the coffee empty. And so Steve was like, forget. We set up a camera and we would monitor to see who's the guilty party that's always coming in, taking the last of the coffee and leaving without filling it up. So it's definitely.
Well, speaking of cameras, I know there's some new things going on at Alarm.com. Could you talk a little bit about the cameras and what's going on?
Yeah.
And it seems like now it used to be a little bit of dust would fly by the camera, and I'd get a little alert that somebody was robbing the home, and meanwhile it's just a spider or something inside. Yeah, can you talk what's going on with the cameras now? They seem like they're smarter now than they once were.
Yes, and so I will say too, it seems like video seems to be one of the largest additional add-on devices that we're seeing going in at this point. So people do want video; they like that visual aspect of the system. And so what we had was, previously, the way most cameras within the industry worked was they would record off of something called pixelation changes. And it's tough to get that sweet spot. If the sun hits it a certain way, there's a bad rainstorm, snowstorm, it would cause the cameras to start recording these clips of really nothing was there. So we knew we had to, provide an improvement on that situation, on that customer experience. So what we did was we acquired a company a few years ago named Object Video Labs. And that's a company that their whole business model was something called video analytics. And that's really focused on capturing something you need to see and eliminating what you don't need to see. And so they did a lot of large scale projects for DOD and Pentagon. So this is pretty impressive technology. And so when we acquired them, we rolled that technology into our cameras. So now if you have an outdoor camera that was causing all of these false recordings, you simply, over the air update can push this analytics out to that camera. And now you can create a ground zone using video analytics and say, I don't want to record a clip unless it sees a person, an animal, or a vehicle. And it's able to capture that specific activity and eliminate everything you don't need to see. And so it's crazy what it did to customer storage. I mean, customers could hit a storage limit 5 days into the month if there was a bad rainstorm the night before, because the cameras would just keep recording. But now with this technology, it's making sure we're not capturing anything like that, but we will make sure to capture if somebody's driving a car up the driveway, or Amazon is coming to drop off a package. They're walking up to the front door. We're capturing that information, recording that to our offsite, to our network operations center, and we're able to send that notification to the customer in real time, so they can see immediately, is this something, a clip I need to pay attention to, or is this something I can disregard? And I will say too, we put a lot of research and development into improving that camera line, but then improving integrations into it as well. So like a lot of camera systems are more just reactive. It could be an 8 megapixel camera, but you're seeing something after it happened. You're seeing a break-in after it happened, after they broke into your car and stole something out of the car. With our system, what you're able to do is you can tie the analytics into a light rule. So if somebody walks by that camera, it's going to turn on the light. Plus, it's sending the notification to the customer that a person was detected. So now you're getting the notification, the light's turning on before a break-in has happened. So that can help to work to maybe scare someone off so that they're not going to break in. So it kind of provides some advantages with the technology that we're able to roll into it.
Yeah, and what are some other applications for your cameras? Like I'm just thinking, around here we've got one, I think, where I can hit a button and I can talk and hear
Yes.
the other person the other way around.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Talk to us a little more about those capabilities.
Yeah, no, two-way audio is a huge ask. People have wanted to have that two-way audio capability. So like if you're between the doorbell cameras, we also have an indoor camera that provides that capability. So yeah, if you're at the office and you want to check in on the kids, or the dealer, like I was saying, you got the notification of the kids playing the video games, you can log into the app, push a button, and you're able to have the two-way conversation. So you speak through the app, the customer's able to hear it, or the person's able to hear it through the actual camera. They can talk into the camera and you can hear it through the app. So it's a full-on two-way conversation. And yeah, so that started because we were getting a lot of positive feedback of two-way audio that was available through the doorbells. People loved, the kids would go ring the doorbell and know they could talk to mom or dad through that doorbell when they were at the office. And so people really liked that capability. So we rolled that out into our indoor cameras. And that's actually something, a future rollout. We're going to have a two-way audio in an outdoor camera, later this year, early next year. So yeah, we get a lot of feedback from customers saying they love that. And like I said, that's how we're able to stay ahead of the curve, because we're getting this feedback from our partners in the field. They're providing it to us as reps. We're able to escalate that to our engineers. So it really helps keep us ahead of the curve based off of what do people want to see. And two-way audio is definitely something people like.
I read an article recently that said Alarmcom had, it looked like come out with a touch-free doorbell solution, sort of a
Yes.
COVID-19 friendly
Yes.
solution.
Yes.
What's that all about?
Yeah, so that's actually won an award at CES here last month. So yeah, what we did was, we knew that, people are hesitant for those high touch points like a doorbell during COVID. So, what is a solution we could offer that could kind of, sidestep that problem? So our video analytics, what you're able to do is create a ground zone right in front of the door, and then you can put a doormat. Alarm.com sells a doormat you can get, and it says step on mat to ring doorbell. So somebody walks in, they step on the doormat, so they've crossed that analytics ground zone, and it'll ring the doorbell. And so
step on the mat to ring the doorbell.
Yes, exactly.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, people love that aspect of, you don't have to hit those high touch points like a doorbell. During COVID, people are hesitant for stuff like that. So you know what? Let's avoid that. You step on the doormat, it's within that ground zone, trigger the doorbell.
What else is new? I feel like I've played around with so many new products from you guys in the last few months. Could you just maybe hit the high points on that?
Yeah. So I think a couple products that are new that people have been asking about, seem to really like. So first is there's something called a Flex.io device, and that actually was another award winner at CES this past month. And so it's a big sensor that is able to provide monitoring and awareness of areas that might be outside of the reach of the security system. So typically that's going to be like a gate or a shed, or maybe you have a detached garage or detached area to the home or to the office. And so what that's able to do is alert you to activity within that specific area. If that gate gets opened, send a notification to that customer to let them know that this gate was open. Or somebody opens a shed, you have a lot of important stuff you want to protect out there, send that notification to the customer. So we're able to kind of extend the area of awareness that you're able to cover. And so that Flex.io can work to either tie into a security system, or it can be a standalone component where you don't have a security system at all, but you just want this Flex.io device. That was a new rollout people really love. And then we also have something called a connected car. And so that's something that another one that we've gotten quite a few requests for that over the last few years. And so with this connected car, it's a device, it's compatible with virtually any car produced since 1996 with that ODB port. And what you're able to do is you plug that in, and it's now able to send you notifications of activity of when is the car turned on? Is the car hitting a high rate of speed? Is there any hard braking that's going on? Maybe you have a spouse. In my situation, my wife, she does a terrible job with making sure that the gas is full. So being able to get that notification if the fuel falls below a certain area, let us know, like, hey, let's not forget to get this filled up. So that's great. And actually, talking to funny stories with dealers, I had a dealer tell me how when he was doing the testing of the connected car, that he put it in he's got a teenage driver, and he was getting notifications that the son was going a little bit too fast. So he said every time he'd get the notification, he immediately text his son, like, hey, slow down. Like, what do you think you're doing? And he said his son, he meant this as an insult, but he was like, God, Dad, it feels like you're sitting right next to me when I'm driving. And the dad was like, you know what? He doesn't like it, but it's that peace of mind that I have, that awareness to make sure that he's not going too fast in the car. So it's at that level of awareness that we're able to provide. And again, with these features, the Flex.io connected car doesn't require that you get a new system to integrate with any of these features. If you have an Alarm.com system, you're able to integrate with these new products.
Yeah, I took my Flex.io and I put it on a shed that was way far away from the house. I've talked with some buddies, and they have farms and other far-flung pieces of property. They never would have been able to put a traditional monitored security system out there, and this thing is just bulletproof.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and then I put the vehicle module in, and I found out that I've been a bit of a naughty boy, and I have the breadcrumbs to prove it. But with kids who are approaching driving age, man, wow,
Oh, yes.
what a cool way of
Yes.
keeping a benevolent dictatorial eye on the kids.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we should kick it open for some Q&A, Vinny. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. All about it.
So everybody, thanks again, everyone for being on the call here today. And as you do have questions, would love to see them sort of dropped in the chat. And I know I want to thank Ashley Ray is with us in the sound booth, making sure that all the technology works properly, and then Vinny and I are able to talk here. And Ashley's with Be Emergent social media, and she is amazing. So anyway, Ashley, do we have any questions here from internet land so far? Let's like I might be no questions so far. All right, well, guys, I've got an Alarmcom system. I've had one for quite a long time. I'm even wearing my shirt, Vinny, which I pointed out earlier.
Yeah, look, it's looking great, Henry.
Fanboy status.
Yeah.
They're in Vienna, Virginia. Their world headquarters. Is that right, Tyson?
Yes.
Vienna?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We were a branch of MicroStrategy. So yeah, that's Northern Virginia company.
Pretty amazing place, having been up there, and they've got this large video wall up there with a picture of the rotating globe on it.
Yes.
And this rotating globe shows Alarm.com activations as they're happening in real time. And so, Vinny, just a sense of scale. I know it sounds like you joined in
06.
Yeah. 06, and you said how many monitored accounts were at that point?
Oh, at that point, I think we had less than 5,000.
5,000, and today we're what?
Over 7 million.
7 million.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, would I be far off in saying Alarm.com may have the biggest smart home footprint maybe on the planet?
Yes. Yeah. The interactive security space, we definitely have by far the most customers. And yeah, it's split between, a large percentage of it is on the residential side, but it's interesting. We moved into commercial recently as well. And over this next year, we'll probably have the most access control doors via cloud solution as well. So the growth has been tremendous in the residential side, and we're definitely seeing a large push in commercial. It's definitely a market that we recognize has largely been untapped, and a lot of people we look at it. It's almost like where the residential space was when we first started in 03. It's like a lot of these business locations just have these traditional phone line systems. They don't have any interactive capacity. And so we recognize that if we reach out and we help to educate these business owners that these solutions that you're using in your home are just as beneficial in the business, an all-in-one solution, video access, security, and one solution that still provides scenes capability, reporting capability. It's definitely something that's beneficial on that side as well. And so that's another thing we're seeing a large growth within that market. So it's been great in residential and then moving along very well in commercial.
I couldn't agree more. I think there's always that commercial crowd that's going to Costco and buying the 14 camera $300 package,
right,
and putting it in.
Yeah,
and that's fine. There's also a ton of folks who see us coming around the corner with Alarm.com, and it's almost like they've been in the desert and they see an oasis with the access control. So being able to give them a fob access control solution with cameras, with the security system, with the heating and cooling control, with the lighting control.
Right.
And what blows my mind too is there's parts of our business that I would describe as service heavy potentially sometimes.
Yeah.
It blows my mind how reliable and stable the Alarm.com platform is.
Right. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit? I mean, that's clearly no accident. I mean, what goes into delivering that kind of stability?
Right. Yeah. Because we are always communicating with those systems in the field. So we're able to be alerted. I mean, if there is any problem, if there is a glitch on the system, we're able to alert the partners. They can do a lot of remote troubleshooting. So they're able to go in and resolve, troubleshoot and resolve it remotely. So you as a dealer are aware of these capabilities. We want to make sure with us always being connected to a system, it allows us to be proactive. If there could be a potential issue, we're able to work to get it resolved beforehand. And it's funny you mentioned on like someone going out to buy a big elaborate video system from like a Costco. We've made solutions based off of feedback we've heard in the field. And one of the main things people would say is, you get this system set up and, it could work as a deterrent, but if there's ever a break-in, you go to look at the video and that's when you find out the video not only doesn't work, you realize it hasn't worked for months. And how is that something we're able to avoid through our services? So, customers can get something called a video health report. With the video health report, they're able to get a monthly breakdown, or they can pull it in on demand through the customer interface that shows them, is my camera, all the cameras connected? What's the storage look like? You can even see images of the view of the camera. So you can see, is it obstructed during the day? Maybe the light's hitting it and it's affecting the IR, or at night, it's too dark and you can't see too clearly. So you're able to proactively be aware of what's going on with those cameras. So in this scenario where you need it, it's going to work.
Yeah. And it looks like we have a question from Shannon Schaefer. Shannon asks, how do you see Alarm.com doorbell cameras on my TV?
So right now, we don't have the integration with the doorbell camera. So we previously had worked with Skybell exclusively on the doorbell side. So there was an issue on the engineering side, but we recently rolled out the Alarm.com doorbell. So the touchless doorbell solution. So right now our engineers are working on integrating that Alarm.com doorbell into the Apple TV and the TV features. So it's not done yet, but that will be something that will roll out this year. So what we do is, in my role, I'll let you know, Henry is the dealer, make sure all the partners are aware of how this works, and then they're able to then work closely with the customers to make sure it is configured.
You mentioned the Apple TV. What did you mean by that?
With Apple TV, like the live video feed, yes. So
if a customer has an Apple TV, they can do something with
Alarm.com? Yeah. So we integrate with Apple TV, Amazon Fire, where you're able to bring up that live video feed on your TV. So let's say the kids are in the backyard playing and you're making dinner, but you still want to be able to keep an eye on them. You're able to set up the TV on that live feed on the videos on the TV, keep an eye on them, and that way you can be sure they don't leave the room or leave the yard, or they're where they're supposed to be. It provides that full awareness. We also have, we have a 24/7 recording device that it's got an HDMI out. So you can also use that to plug into TV or, local monitor if it's a business, to have that live feed up and running at all times. We definitely want to make sure it's something that, people are able to keep that live feed up and be aware of what's going on at all times. But that also goes to show, we questions like that, we love that, because people, what do you want to see? What's something that would be beneficial for you? Someone saying, I want to be able to see this doorbell on the TV. It's like, all right, let's escalate this with our engineers. Let's get this rolled out.
Yeah. And also too, is it possible to do anything with the doorbell camera on any of the security keypads or anything like that?
Yes. So we have integrations with the control panels. So you're able to bring that live feed up through that keypad or through the control panel, so you can see who's at the front door. So it gives you that full visual capability right there through the keypad and through the control panel. And actually, you mentioned another update we are rolling out to those doorbells that, again, is feedback from people we've been getting for a long time, is they want 24/7 capability. They want that doorbell camera to be recording everything as well. So based off of that, we are rolling out, this should be available within the next probably 2 months or so, is SD card recording on that 770. So with SD card recording, that provides that full local storage through this SD device. But how we're different from traditional SD cards is that usually if you wanted to see what was recorded, you have to go pull the SD card out of the device, plug it in, and then hit play to watch it. With our SD cards, you're able to still pull it up right through the app. You can pull that live feed as well as the video timeline, and it's going to have everything right there through the app or through the customer interface.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another great feedback we get from partners. People want to see that 24/7 recording on doorbells. So you know what, let's do it. Let's roll this out.
Yeah, it's cool you mentioned that. I know in our master bedroom we have an Apple TV set up where we can see the cameras, which is cool. And then also it's neat to be able to walk over to that security keypad on the wall. It's in, anybody who has an Alarm.com system, you probably have a keypad in your master bedroom anyway. And from there, we can see all of our cameras and talk to the doorbell, I think.
Yeah.
Unlock the door. It's pretty compelling versus the old calculator the calculator on the wall. I think Qualsis had a cool t-shirt. It was 1985 called, and it wants its keypad back.
Right. Yeah. And that's also, I will say too, the hardware providers are getting so great with making everything look so cool, aesthetically pleasing. It's not the old calculators, numbers on the wall. It looks like an iPad. It looks like a device that's on the wall. So it looks much better than it has previously. Yeah. If you go back 20 years to see some of the things that they used to install in homes, it looks way different than it does today.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of us were around at that point. So yeah, it's come a long way.
Yeah. No,
so John Miller asks, other than running a test, is there any way to ensure that my system and the control center are connected, like a continuous status indicating a good link? Like, is there any kind of, I think John's looking for some warm fuzzies, like looking at his app or, how does he get the sense that it's?
Yes. So we are always communicating with the systems in the field. So if it's a 4-hour time frame where we don't get anything, so typically most systems are communicating with us at all times because the door opening and closing, or the lock, locking or unlocking, the garage door closing. So thermostats adjusting temperature. We're always getting that communication from the accounts in the field. So if there's a time frame, if there's a 4-hour time frame where we don't get anything, we automatically proactively ping the system. If there's no response there, if it's not communicating, it immediately creates that trouble condition that our dealers will see. So you as a dealer will know that, and the customer is able to see that as well. So that's another way that we're proactively making sure things are always connected and working. And if not, we're going to let you know and work to get that resolved as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I've always loved that about the way that Alarm.com connects anyway. I've always, and Vinnie, maybe I've been saying it wrong the whole time, so set me straight, but I've always described it as this sort of digital umbilical cord that, if it's cut, you're going to get a notification pretty quick on your device. The security, the central station, if it's set up properly, is going to call you. So versus the old school having the phone line deal, somebody cut your phone line, you're just dead in the water.
Yeah, and that's also something that years ago they recognized as a problem, is that the more research they did, they'd say you would find out your system hasn't worked for months on the security side, and maybe you only find out because there's a break in an alarm and nothing happens, or you just you haven't armed the system, so you go to arm it and all of a sudden realize nothing's happening. And it wouldn't happen unless the customer actually did something. There was no proactive outreach to verify if things were working. And so That's something that they recognize. We're like, you know what, this is not a great business model. If we're in security, let's make sure the customers are secure. And so that's was an idea behind that network operations center, constantly pinging these systems. Let's be aware of everything that's going on. If that system's not working, let's alert the customer, let's alert the dealer, let's get this resolved as quickly as possible. And then, we provide tools to you as a dealer so that you can do remote troubleshooting as well. It doesn't always require that you as a dealer go on site to get something resolved. You have tools in place where you can send some commands and you can make some adjustments to maybe fix a problem without the customer having to go and wait at their house for you guys to send technicians out to do things. So there's a lot of tools in place to really make sure everything is up and working, or if it's not, that we can get it resolved as quickly as possible.
Yeah. So we probably have time for maybe one or two more questions. I'm looking over here at the chat here, and just making sure we've covered everybody. So Shannon and John, thank you guys for your questions. And Vinnie, you meet somebody who's using Alarm.com for the first time, or they're thinking about Alarm.com. Anything you share with them and say, as a first-time user, like, hey, make sure you do this, or anybody when they're sitting on the fence, deciding whether they're going to go with this or maybe go with buying a very aggressive Pomeranian.
Right.
What do you say to those folks?
Yeah, I wish I could get my wife down here to give a testimonial, because when we were starting, she was so against having security systems, and she was like, she's never had it growing up. She was like, it just seems cameras in the house. She did not like the idea of it. And then we have kids, and then she's like, my God, checking in on the babysitter. She's like making sure kids are asleep when they should be. And also, this is another story I love too, is that when she was home with our newborn, when our 10-year-old was first born, we lost power in the house. And so, not wanting to be home in a house with no air conditioning, she's taking the baby to the mall, just walking around, and then all of a sudden, we both get notifications that the power has been restored. And so she immediately called me to be like, hey, did you get that? I was like, yep, we're good to go. You can take the baby home. And she was like, right then, she was like, my God, thank God we have a system like this. Like, this awareness, knowing what's going on, is such a huge benefit. Because she was like, without this, we'd be walking around the mall for hours just wondering, can I go home? So she's like, knowing that the power was back on, being able to go home right away, like just having that notification and that awareness was right there, she said, would pay for itself. But then, as our technology and integrations grew, having the thermostat integration, she was saying, we moved a few years ago. And when we first moved, I didn't get Alarm.com set up right away. And probably 3 days there, she was like, look, you need to get Alarm.com set up. She's like, I hate going to this thermostat and doing this adjusting and trying to figure out. She's like, I just want to go on my phone and be able to adjust that temperature. So for people, I think, just you realize how much you love that awareness of everything that's going on in the home, whether it's losing power, whether you're checking on the babysitters, whether you want to adjust the temperature, whether you just want to talk to whoever's at the front door right through the phone. That the capability to do it all through one app is a huge convenience for the customers. And just know that every time we have a new feature, a new rollout, you're going to have access to that too. It's not just a static system that you put in and it doesn't grow. This is growing with this Internet of Things industry, which is booming by the day.
Yeah, I one of the things I've always found interesting with the losing the power, you get the notification, and then it gives you this sense of you've lost power. By the way, only 5% of people around you have lost power. So you get the sense of, is it just me? Is it my neighborhood? Is it a whole, the aliens invading? And I love that sort of intelligence of the hive, if you will, I guess. And then I've heard these severe weather alerts have really helped to save lives, especially with tornadoes.
Yes, a few years ago in Joplin, Missouri, we had a story where an elderly woman was in her house and she was taking a nap and she got woken up because of the severe weather alerts, creates a beeping at the panel. So she gets up to go see what's going on, and it was scrolling across the panel that tornadoes were incoming. So she took cover. I think she was in a closet, and she survived the tornado. And it was actually amazing. She took a picture to show what her neighborhood looked like. I mean, everything in that neighborhood was destroyed. And she said the only reason she survived was because her security system had let her know that this was coming in. So the technology that we're able to provide, it's security, not just from break-ins, but just being aware of everything that's going on. It definitely provides a huge advantage there.
Yeah. Well, Vinnie, this has been amazing, and I can't thank you enough for your time. Any kind of closing comments?
Well, yeah, just thank you for coordinating, putting this together. I want to thank everyone for joining in. Ashley, thank you as well for helping to coordinate. I love to hear questions. It's not something in my role. I mainly do a lot of work with the security partners, so love to hear the feedback and questions from users in the field. Like I said, that's the kind of stuff that really helps, I think, keep us ahead of the curve. Keeps us producing solutions that customers want. But it's something. This industry is definitely an exciting industry. There's new features, new rollouts coming every day. So just wait and see what's next from Alarm.com. But it's been great talking with everyone, and looking forward to working with everyone closely.
All right. Well, thanks again, Vinnie, and thanks to all of you out there in internet land. And we'll be back in March for episode 3 of Livewire Connections. In the meantime, let's all go out there and do the happy dance, because spring is in the air. So Thanks again for being with us, and we're out.
Great. Thanks a lot, everyone.